Okay, same thing. Let's just roll through these real fast so I can get back to experiencing the process of tectonic plate shifting in human form. My opinion is my opinion. This is the stuff I like this year, yada yada, whatever. Okay, cool, yeah, we get it. Alright, disclosure, I have a backlog of like 30 movies that I haven't been able to watch yet since they won't release on streaming for my horoscope. This says the next 4 lunar cycles. But by my count, I watched, 53 movies this year? Not including popcorn, fluffy stuff like Five Nights at Freddy's or like random bad horror movies. I watched 50 movies that were trying to be real movies. I didn't watch... There's plenty of stuff that I knew that I wasn't interested in, so I wasn't going to watch. Didn't watch Teenage Kraken, or Elemental, or Indiana Jones, or any of that bullshit. The most significant things I haven't seen at the time of this writing: Poor Things and American Fiction. Since I'm out of town with my family, I'm no longer near a big city that has access to the limited release, the theatrical releases. I haven't been able to access All of Us Strangers, Perfect Days, Teacher's Lounge, Flora and Son, because I'm too lazy to bother subscribing to fucking Apple TV. I held off on writing this right up until I could watch Society of Snow, which was, I guess, yesterday is when it released. But no later. If more stuff had been made available to me by the time the Oscars happen, I'll probably make another post-Oscar video with my thoughts on the awards and an updated list of the filmography, just like I did last year. Top 10. I didn't have strong enough feelings on enough movies to make a top 15 for this year, so honorable mentions for stuff that I liked, but I didn't feel solidly enough to give a ranking. I liked The Iron Claw, Creed 3, Barbie, The Holdovers, 20 Days in Mariupol, How to Blow Up a Pipeline, May December, Fair Play, Blackberry, and The Mission. Alright, 10. Killers of the Flower Moon. I already made 2 videos talking about this, my 40-minute Killers of the Flower video, and my I Hate Biopics video. I haven't heard any new arguments or interpretations of the film since then. It's mostly been rotating the same saucepan, so my thoughts on it are pretty unchanged from then. Movie is solid. I appreciate a lot of what it brings to this relatively played-out concept. I also appreciate in this whole year the number of films with like these sort of harsh third act pivots in tone, like in Killers of the Flower Moon, where only the latter chunk just becomes this FBI origin story and harshly diverts from the previous focus and structure, which I find refreshing in how it's done here. I appreciate the way the film handles its perspectives, and especially its tasteful approach to the underlying violence that underscores the plot. In a year filled with questionable sensationalism of real-life violence, I think this is the smartest way I've seen it done. I still don't morally agree with some of the contentions of the film. While I appreciate the portrayal of evil as the collective action of ignorant, bumbling morons, I still find the character of King a bit weird relative to the rest of the story. Mostly this isn't higher on my list because I'm the kind of person who really appreciates novelty and compounded style, and this is a long movie that is well directed, well made and stuff, but it doesn't thrill me most of the time. The part that I was most excited by in the whole thing is the last 5 minutes. The rest of it is good, but you know, I'm not very passionate about it. 9. Society of the Snow. I just watched this. I wasn't even sure if I should be including or if I should just start this off as my first 2024 movie instead. But who cares? 2023 was a year in which a bajillion movies that are nominated for awards came out in late December and will keep coming out in their various release cycles into early January. It's not my fault that half the goddamn filmography is in the border between the years. Limited theatrical releases, delayed streaming releases, limited screenings. Fuck you, I'm not driving 120 miles to watch American Fiction. Fuck off. Society of the Snow, right, it's a bit long. feels a bit samey in certain spots. I had this horrible, ironic feeling watching it that it was supposed to be a biopic, even though I hate biopics. That's how bad it's gotten for me. That I was actually scoffing at whether or not I could believe the events of the story could be realistic, because it wasn't based on true events, so how should I know? But yeah, long movie, good movie, strong cast, strong substance. You put cannibalism and male nudity into a film, instant 2-point jump for me. 8. Bottoms. This is a movie I wish I loved as much as some of my peers who are obsessed with it. Again, I just feel like this was a pretty close to being something I would have loved a lot more, with some minor adjustments and maybe some more boldness in the middle chunk of the film. The last act is fucking great and exemplifies all the strengths of the film perfectly, but the first 60% of the movie isn't that unique. The way things play out are extremely cliched in not the most interesting, satirically done ways. Some of the comedy felt a bit try-hardy, some of the riffs, some of the jokes, whatever. And I know this is my giant, stupid, dumb fuck asshole moment here, but I actually don't love Ayo Edebiri in anything I've seen her in. Even Rachel Sennett was not as good as she was in Bodies, 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 which is a film that she fucking carries. Right, but that's all relative to people who put this as their number one film of the year. Obviously, there's a lot to love in this. Great shit. 7. The Boy and the Heron. Gotta make those fucking animated children's movies about how semen fertilizes eggs to make babies. I do appreciate that when this kind of movie comes out, it's extremely easy to find out the religious symbolism behind all the choices, because there's always going to be a half dozen dork lords who have already written up their little fucking nerd reports about all the shit that you should know about Japanese culture and mythology. It's a hell of a lot easier than doing my own research. That's for sure. I mostly enjoyed this movie while watching it, but most of my appreciation, my respect for it comes from in post, reading all of the articles and papers about its ideas, what it represents, what it's going for, etc. I will say, though, I have read the word semen more times reading about this film than I did about fucking Saltburn, so that should tell you something. 6. Naiad. It's not it's a fucking biopic. I hate biopics. Wait, this one's fine because I say so. I don't know. It's good. I mean, this film does the opposite of what a lot of biopics can do, of what I don't like in biopics. So rather than take a real person and portray them as a mythical figure, this is the more, it takes an enigmatic, record-winning, whoever the fuck, and portrays her as just another loser meatbag. The biopic of it all isn't important to me in this case. I just like the movie. I just think there's a lot of character to it. It's one of the films that highlights accomplishments and problems and solutions that you've never thought about in your daily life. One of those kinds of, kind of like 13 Lives, and how it highlights, how you've never thought about the actual significance of the danger of cave diving and things like that. But mostly, it's just a refreshing film that is, in terms of types of stories, and that it centers around the ambitions of women over 50 and their unique relationships and the state in their lives and where they are in the world and such. And the two main leads have great chemistry, so yeah, it's just really well executed. 5. Americazzi. Alright, we're finally getting into the shit that I actually fucking loved from this year. This is definitely the least recognizable film on my list. The fucking official Americazzi Twitter account thanked me personally for saying that I loved the movie on my own timeline. This might be a niche taste situation, but this film is fucking magical. It is a rare and special experience. I am serious, okay? By far the piece of art this year that gets closest to reaching the, a core beauty. On paper, this film is about Soviet Armenia and the repatriates who came from all over the world to return to their birth country once they created the repatriates program, post-World War II. And an American Armenian wants to follow his roots and touch his Armenian homeland, touch base, and is arrested by the Soviets under assumption of being an American spy, and he spends several years in prison. where he spends all of his free time in his cell looking out his window at the neighboring residence where one of the prison guards lives, and, like, living vicariously through this man that he never meets or speaks to, and creating for himself this image of this, like, internal life that he imagines, where he connects to his Armenian culture and, like, discovers his roots. This film is incredibly charming. The emotional weight between the two main characters, the two men who never speak, is stronger than anything else in the entire year. The human spirit of the film is incredible. It's just a masterfully constructed, arc of the story that expresses most of itself without any dialogue, but also without the slowness and the elongation of most reduced dialogue films. I fucking loved this movie. This is the one film I could have placed at any spot between number 5 and number 1. I just wasn't sure where to put it. 4. They Clone Tyrone. Black-led comedy sci-fi thriller that blends parody with sinister seriousness. The main character is basically Black Cloud Strife as a drug dealer. Just an excellent film, maybe with a tiny bit better editing and structuring, might have been number 1, number 2. Like, stuff like, the ending kind of weirdly paced and abrupt. Some parts are maximum smoothness, but, like, holy shit, this movie is so good. Great performances, dialogue, dope shit in it, great score. Hell yeah, this is what we need, man. More shit that is, like, pushing boundaries and people having fun ideas. We've got a popular hit black sci-fi thriller about population control, human experiments in the fried chicken and the grape drink and the fucking perm hair products. One more fucking biopic about some white guy in World War II, please. Yeah, thanks. I'll take mine to go. 3. Anatomy of a Fall. So glad that I waited 6 months to be able to watch this. This was as good as people said it would be. Simple core concept, great performances, great gradual shift in the direction of the story, great, like, grayness to it, great ending. This is the kind of pretentious film bro YouTuber asshole movies us film bro YouTuber assholes live for. As my viewers know, I fucking love movies that take a very small snapshot in time and then use it to shine light on long periods of characters' lives and a setting's history. And this is one of those films. A husband is found dead, assumed to have fallen from the 3rd floor of his house, and there's a trial to see whether or not his wife is guilty of murder. We don't see anything in their lives before this point or after the trial. It goes in really interesting but natural directions and implies so much more complexity and weight in all the things influencing and being influenced by the characters and the trial. Just an excellent film. 2. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. This was my number 1 for most of the year, but something barely beat it out. Look, being a contrarian asshole, being the douchebag loser who says, you really should have watched that obscure German film about the transitional high school students moving in from Poland. Look, some people don't want to pick the popular things because they're popular, but, like, you also just have to check yourself and recognize that things that are popular can just actually be that fucking good if you really look at them. And yeah, Across the Spider-Verse is just that good, that high quality in every aspect. Of course it competes at the fucking highest level. It's excellent at what it does, and its excellence is unmistakable. 1. Saltburn. I'm listening to fucking Murder on the Dance Floor on repeat while writing this, just so you know. To start with, I just want to say that as far as I can tell, both Promising Young Woman and Saltburn, find themselves amongst the wrong audience. They should really be more niche and only be seen by people like me that like weird movies with no strong, moral high grounds or anything, and, like, really dark, vague fucking implications, but for some reason, really fucking normie, vanilla, normcore losers watch this shit and then have the most useless fucking commentary to make on it. I think there's way too large of a community of people who do not understand Promising Young Woman who complain about it, and it's also one of those situations where the director gets in the spotlight more than other movies that people complain about. So Emerald Fennell constantly gets these really nasty and absurdly illogical, inconsistent insults flung around. Like, there are literally articles written by faux serious people saying shit like, oh, can a woman who grew up having any amount of money possibly be in a position to write a story or direct a movie that is accurate, that expresses something about reality? Or are there just weird nonsense character attacks that don't make any sense relative to any other director or anything, based on no aspect of her actual character other than that she's a woman? So Promising Young Woman gets maligned by a lot of people with bad media literacy who take legitimate offense to their incorrect and illiterate readings of it. I do think Saltburn is much better of a movie than Promising Young Woman. It's much more stylish, it has a much more unique energy. Its pacing is fantastic. It's a great theater watch, especially. Honestly, Saltburn on paper is much less unique of a concept than a lot of other films this year. It's a sinister interloper story, but its execution and its tone and its presentation, its sexual energy and stuff are just so fucking distinct and amazing. It really carves out its own space in the disturbing and the twisted. Just a really punchy experience. I can't overstate how much fun I had watching it, okay? I've only seen the people who complain about it by ascribing these really weird, illiterate readings to it, like, oh, why didn't this film criticize the wealthy more? Because they can't fucking be bothered to understand the point of the movie, and then it's not to have a fucking Elmo Sesame Street lecture dumbed down enough for them to understand, or just a bunch of, like, weird, like, vanilla people that were like, well, that movie was weird, I don't know what to think of that. Anyways, movie fucking rocks, okay, that's what I'm saying. I'll watch Barry Keoghan lick cum from a bathtub drain any day. Oh, you fucking boring assholes, right? How about you watch a man have sex with a fucking freshly dug grave, right? Watch some real fucking cinema. If you're in 2024, the year of our Lord, and your movie doesn't have raw cock and balls on screen, what are you fucking doing, man? Saltburn. Fuck yeah. That's about it. See ya.